Hey everyone, it's Colin from GIY Guy. This time I'm coming to you from my crawl space of all places. I hope you're staying warm this winter. I personally am just tired of the cold and I'm ready to get growing stuff again and ready for that warm weather. So yes, I'm in my crawl space and no, I don't grow anything illegal down here. Actually, when I walked through the door after hanging my grow lights, it was like a movie scene where you walk into the basement and they've got their weed farm and everything. It just kind of made me chuckle. But anyway, last year I put down this brand new moisture barrier all through the whole crawl space, and then I also put a sump pump so it is dry, cozy. It's probably 60 to 75 degrees in here, which isn't perfect for germinating seeds. Ideally, it's about 75 to 80 degrees. But I'm thinking that all it's going to do is just make them take longer to germinate. I don't think it'll actually prevent them from germinating. So in today's video, after you hit that like and subscribe button for me, which I really appreciate a lot, I'm going to walk you through my germination setup, which is just really basic. It's something you can do at home if you've got some free space. Then I'm going to walk you through just real quick my planting schedule, which I posted in the description below. It's just a link to a Google Drive document if you're interested. It's pretty detailed. I put a lot of work into it. It covers just about every vegetable or herb you might want to plant. It gives like start times for their seedlings, for transplants, when to transplant them out into your garden, how far apart to place your plants. I've even got some notes in there about germination temperatures and all that. So check that out if you're interested. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up just with some grow light tips, because I saw a lot of questions about how far to place your grow lights from your plants. And the answer isn't just one straight answer. You actually have to adjust them. So we'll get into that as well. Let's start with the equipment setup. I'll actually take the camera off and walk you through it a little closer. All right, so the first thing I've got is these two Sunco grow lights. I got them from Amazon. They're about 60 bucks for the pair. You can see in the back that you can actually string them together, and you can string up to 4 of them in sequence. They've got these little pull chains. They also included some nice hardware here. I've got the box here. They are 40 watts, 600 lumens. I think their equivalent wattage is 260. The chain is pretty short up here, so I would recommend either buying some extra chain or just using some string like I'm going to do because I'm cheap, because you'll probably need to lower these. They're about 2.5 or 3 feet away from my germination rack right now, or my seedling tray. Next thing I've got is these seedling trays. These are from Garden. I also got them on Amazon. I got a 5-pack for about 20 bucks. So I've already got everything already labeled and planted in here. So you can see I used just some blue tape to label my seeds. But these trays come in 3 pieces. So the bottom piece is just like a water tray, and that's just gonna be one way you can water the plants. So the seedling tray with the dirt in it actually has holes in the bottom of each slot, so it can absorb that water up through the bottom. And then finally, it's got this nice little cover that you can put on the top to trap some moisture and also keep them a little bit warm. The last thing I've got is this cheap Home Depot timer. It's about 7 bucks. I have it set to about 13 hours of sunlight, but definitely recommend getting one of these because you don't want your lights on all the time. Actually, they only need about 12 to 16 hours of light. You don't want to keep them on all the time because your plants need to rest. They need about 8 hours of darkness. Otherwise, they're not going to grow very well. It's going to actually stunt their growth. So since it's still winter, it's only mid-January right now, I can't plant everything because a lot of the warmer weather veggies don't need to be planted until, or started until like 8 to 10 weeks before the last frost. I'm in zone 7B in Greensboro, North Carolina, and so our last frost is about April 15th. So I've still got quite a bit of time before I can start planting the warm weather stuff and planting outside. But down here, for the cold weather stuff, I've got asparagus, celery, lettuce, green onions, rosemary, alpine strawberries, and then I've also planted some lemon and pomegranate trees. I just harvested some seeds from some fruit, and I'm just going to see how they go. They might take a while to germinate, they might not even germinate, but come summertime, if any of them have germinated, then I'll go ahead and transplant them outside. Now I want to just talk real quick about your lighting setup. I saw a lot of questions online about how far do you put your grow lights from your plants. And there's not really just a straight answer that you're gonna use all the time. So there's actually 3 stages that you're gonna need to adjust your grow lights for. There's the seedling stage, which the lights need to be about 24 to 36 inches away from your soil. And then there's the vegetative stage, where they need a lot more sunlight, so you wanna bring them down to about 12 to 24 inches. This is where they're gonna do most of their growing, and they need that photosynthesis to happen a lot. And then finally there's the flowering stage, and I'm not going to use this for the flowering stage because I will have transplanted them by the time they're flowering. I probably won't even use them for half the vegetative stage because I'll have transplanted them by then as well. But if you choose to run them all the way through the flowering stage with your grow lights, then you're going to need to adjust them one last time and that's going to be down to about 18 to 24 inches. So as they start flowering, they actually need less sunlight. So that's when you can adjust your lights one more time. Now the reason we want to stay on top of this grow light distance is because there's a thing called light burn. And I didn't really know what this was until I started growing an avocado tree and it started growing too close to the light and my leaves actually started yellowing and kind of curving up. So I'll throw a picture on the screen of what that looks like. The second one to look out for is bleaching of your leaves. So this is when they're going to turn like a white-yellow color. This is only going to happen to the ones closest to the lights, and those are the ones that are getting burned. And then the final symptom that we got is that the veins in your leaves are going to remain green while the rest of your leaf starts turning yellow. So there are some overlaps between light burn and nitrogen deficiency, but most likely it's going to be light burn if you're using grow lights. So the last thing I wanted to show you, as promised, is my planting schedule. I spent a lot of time on this. I basically included all the garden veggies that you'd want to grow and a handful of herbs that you might grow as well. In the first columns, I put like germination temperature, distance that you need to plant your seeds apart from each other, days to harvest, all that kind of stuff. And then the second half is kind of a calendar breakdown, like when to plant your seeds, when to transplant them, all that stuff. So the green S's are when I'm going to plant my seedlings, whether it's down here in the germination station or outside in the garden. And then the orange T's are when I'm going to actually transplant some items out to the garden from my germination station. And then I've got some notes sprinkled out just for some random things you might want to know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video featuring me in my crawl space, and I hope I showed you just how easy it is to start a germination station of your own. Maybe you realize that you can even start one in your crawl space if you don't have any extra bedrooms. So with that, go find yourself a sunny window or an extra bedroom or something and get a head start on growing it yourself.